So in this video, we're going to talk about how to install TensorFlow2. I spent some time yesterday trying to install TensorFlow 1.15, which is an easy install using Conda, but I couldn't get it to work. There's too many conflicts with, I guess, the newer versions of Anaconda. So this particular machine that I'm using has some stuff installed on it, but it is essentially a brand new machine with a new install of Windows. I updated all of Windows, did the just Windows update, and it has an install of the newest version of Anaconda that I downloaded from Anaconda itself yesterday on the 10th of November 2021. So today we're going to do everything that I do for an install, including testing. I'll post somewhere a copy of the Python file I'm using. It's nothing special. It just uses the GPU, and we can see that it works. So let's get started. Now I'm going to do I'm going to show you what you have to do to install, both for just running on the CPU as well as running on a GPU if you have the NVIDIA graphics processor. If you don't have NVIDIA graphics processor, which you may not have if you are running a Mac or a machine that doesn't have one, then you'll have to just use the standard install. So we're going to do the standard install first, and then I'll show you what you have to do to use a graphics processor. So if all you want is well, I was saying if all you want is a regular install, then we'll do that first. So I have the command prompt opened up here. Now I opened the Anaconda command prompt with administrator privileges, or as an administrator. So that's why it looks like this. I would recommend that for this particular install. So if you want to install with without a GPU, then we'll do the following things. Now I'm going to go to the TensorFlow page here, so just tensorflow.org, and click on install, and it tells you what you need: Python 3.5 to 3.8. Windows 7, I assume that's what you're using, or Mac OS later. And you can actually install with pip. So I'm going to do what it says here. So it requires the latest pip. I think that's what I have in the Anaconda prompt, but I'm going to copy this, go back to the prompt, paste it in there, and do that. It downloaded one, it's installing it, and uninstalled the old one, as you can see, and it'll install the new one. Could not install packages. Oh, okay. And that's something that we'll run into. Darn it, it's going to do the same thing. Control V. All right, so you can do it this way. I'm sorry. And so what you want to do is we'll put the double dash user at the end. That error that I got on top will a lot of times will be fixed by that user, and we'll use that with the in TensorFlow. And so at this point, then we can go back to the the install page here for TensorFlow. I'm going to copy the pip install TensorFlow I'm going to paste it in here. Control V. We'll see. I think it'll just install it. And it says it's using the cached version. Yeah, I tried this out on this machine before, but this is a brand new installation. And it builds some stuff. This says it couldn't do something for the user, so let's put the user at the end. Apparently, they when you copy from the page there, it puts a control line feed at the end of it and causes it to automatically do the install. So you can see here that it gave me a warning, which is okay. It'll fiddle around for a second, and then we should have TensorFlow running. And this, again, this is TensorFlow running without the GPU. All right, so at this point, I can go to Spider, which is what we will use all term, and I have a Keras minist feed forward. Now, there's a couple things about this file. This is very similar to the one I use in class. The big difference here is that for TensorFlow2 to work, you can see here that it says from TensorFlow.Keras import models rather than from Keras import models. Now, if you've watched the other install videos that I've done on TensorFlow and Keras, you'll notice that I had installed Keras separately, and I installed it after TensorFlow. In this case, in the new version of TensorFlow, we don't have to do that. Keras is already included, and as TensorFlow's high-level language, if that's what you want to call it. And so we just do from TensorFlow. You also notice that if I use that terminology, that I don't have to import TensorFlow as TF. You can see that little orange triangle over there. We import it, but we don't use it. So now we're going to run this to see if it works. And so here we go. No module named TensorFlow. Hold on a second. Let's just restart the kernel. And yes, I just installed TensorFlow, so that shouldn't be an issue. I restarted the kernel, and here we go. And it found, it didn't find, you get an error here, CUDIRT64, DLL not found, and it says ignore that error if you don't have a GPU set up, so you can do that. And there's a little bit of going on here, so some informative message that show up once the first time you run things. And here we go. It took 34 seconds to do the training, and it completed. You get that little bit of an error message, but that's a normal thing and nothing to be worried about. Now, I'm going to go back to the wrong thing. Sorry. I clicked an orange button, and I meant to do this one. So now here, if you notice on the right hand side on the TensorFlow install page, it says GPU support. And so I'm going to click on that, and it says it will support it, but it requires a bunch of stuff to do that. So we did the pip install TensorFlow already, and you can install older ones if you want to, but I don't recommend it. But here are the software requirements for using a GPU. You need the GPU drivers, and those will get installed actually with this CUDA toolkit. I mean, you already have them, but the CUDA toolkit will install new ones for you. And this CUPD, or however you want to say that, is installed with the toolkit. And we need the CUDNN. So there's two things we have to download: this CUDA toolkit and the CUDNN. Now, so let's click there. Let's do this one. Open it in a new tab. and you'll get a toolkit archive. What you want when you go to the toolkit archive here is you want CUDA toolkit 11.0 update 1. It says August 2020. Don't install 11.1 because those CUDA, or excuse me, TensorFlow doesn't support those, I don't think. And these now when you click this, so the update just isn't an update to the other one. It is the whole thing updated, so you don't have to download two things, just one. And it'll take you here, and it'll ask you what operating system. I'm going to use Windows in this case, and I have Windows 10 on this machine. And if you're just doing a single install, then I would recommend the exe local here. So when you do that, you can see here that the download is 2.8 gigabytes. That takes a little while to install. And so when you've installed things like this from the web before, but so you click the download, it asks you, and I always save the file, it'll put it in the download directory. And so I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to stop until it gets downloaded. That is a while. Again, it depends on your network speed, but several minutes, and that's the most boring thing to watch. So I'm just going to pause for a few minutes, and then we'll resume after it's downloaded. All right, so I'm going to close it. It's downloaded, so I'm going to close this window. And I'm going to go to I need this other thing, the CUDNN SDK. So I'm going to click on that, and it takes me here. It asks me if I want to download it. Now, so I say yes, and it makes you log in, or you have to join, one of the two. So this may take a few minutes for you if you're joining to do that. But so I'm going to log in, and for this one, my email address is the one at Gmail, and then it'll ask me to verify who I am. So I'm a human, yeah, right. And it wants a train, so I have to identify which ones are trains, which pictures have trains in them, and I think those are them. So it likes that, and I click login. Now I know you probably could find your way through these things, but just to eliminate any ambiguity about what we're doing here. So this is CUDNN download, and I agree to the terms, but I need 8.0.4, not 5. And so I'm going to click archived releases. So here's 8.0.4. And again, remember that we're using 11.0, not 11.1. And so then I would download CUDNN and 8.0.4 for CUDA 11.0. And I want the library for Windows. So I click on that. It asks me if I want to save it. And like I did before, I'm going to pause for a minute while I get that. So all right, we've got that. So let's go to the two things we have to do are go to the we have to install those two things. So let me go to File Explorer. Now I'm in my download directory, as you can see. And I want to install, I've already installed Anaconda, so we don't have to do that, but I want to install CUDA win10.exe. And so I just double click on that. This, again, it's a huge big file, and it takes a little while to install, so I'll pause again while we're watching this happen. So this is taking a minute to open up, and then it asks me if I want to allow the thing to make changes. I say yes. I click OK for the it wants to extract the installer, so this takes a minute or two. So I'll pause until that's done. Okay, the extraction's done. You can see that it goes into this checking system compatibility thing. So that messes around for a minute or two, and while we're doing that. Now this is going to install, and this is important. This is going to install into a directory or a folder underneath the program files. And I'll show you where it is. Under NVIDIA graphics processing and CUDA. And so we'll go take a look at that in a few minutes. Well, as I said, it's important. So I click next there, and I usually do the express or recommended install here. So I just click next. And again, it asks you, I don't have Visual Studio on this computer, and so it will, it asks me if I understand. I say, yes, I do. And so then it does this for a while. So I'm going to, and it does the install. So when it's more or less done, I'm going to pause until then, and I'll come back. All right, so here we are after it's pretty much installed. It tells me it didn't install Nsight for Visual Studio, but since I don't have Visual Studio, I don't really give a hoot. So I click OK, and it asks me if I want to create a desktop shortcut for the GeForce Experience. So if you want, go ahead. Whatever you'd like to do. I'm not going to do either one of those two things. I'm click close. So CUDA is now installed, and I promised that I'd show you where that was. And so it's on the disk here. It's on program files. You can see NVIDIA GPU Computing Toolkit and CUDA at 11.0, which is what we installed. And there's what it created. You can see it. I did this at 11:30, basically, on the 11th. So there we go. Now what I'm going to do here is go back to downloads, because we have to install CUDNN. So the way we do that it isn't a install so much as a copy. So let's the first thing we need to do is extract all the files. And so I right click on CUDNN and click extract all, and just click extract. So then I get this the normal little window. Okay, and I have checked, or it allowed to be checked, this show extract files when complete. That's just saves a step. So all right, so we have the CUDA. And then what I want to do here is highlight all of these. So I click on the first one, hold the shift key down, click on the bottom one, so that highlights them all. And then somewhere in here, like here, I move the cursor up, I right click and click copy. Now what I'm going to do, I'll leave that window open, and I'm going to go to that directory, or the so I went to program files, and then to computing toolkit, to CUDA 11.0, and then off here on the side somewhere I right click and I click paste. And it wants, yes, I want to replace the files in the destination. So and I'm going to continue for so it does this, it'll create additional things. So that is how you install. You basically extract, copy everything, and then paste it into the 11.0 toolkit. So I'm going to minimize these things. And I'm back to Spider. Now, what I'm going to do is, I know it won't find the GPU, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to restart the kernel again. Yes. and it looks like it's done. I don't know why. Well, let me try it again. Just sometimes it does. It gives me a new number 1. Okay, so now I'm going to click the run button, and it doesn't give me this stuff that I had before. And in fact, I'm going to argue that this didn't find the GPU. So I'm going to restart Spider in a second. We've installed everything you needed for the GPU, but I'm going to restart Spider. But I'll let it stop first. So you notice that without the GPU, this takes 41 seconds or so. So let me stop Spider. And all right, so I restarted Spider, and let's see if this works any better this time. It found, so this is the thing I wanted. It found that dynamic library, and so when I go down through here, it tells me a bunch of GPU stuff. Again, that only shows up once when you run it, the first time you run, and so a lot of it. I'm sorry. Okay, you can see here that the first epoch took 7 seconds, so it's take 4, and the training is 28 seconds rather than 44. And you say, well, yeah, I don't care, it's not a big deal. I agree with you for these small problems. It's not a big deal. However, later in the semester, certainly for the LSTM assignment, which is the next to the last one we do, and perhaps for your final project, you might find that having it run faster is a good thing. So that's how to install both with and without the GPU. If we are running without the GPU, it's doing everything on the CPU. I would expect your times here to be different than mine. But that's just a difference in PCs. So if you have any questions, of course, send me an email or ask in office hours or something like that. Bye, and thanks for listening.